the championship and a few rings. It's an orange and blue thing. Walk off. Listen to the show and peep what these dudes bring. If you didn't know, it's an orange and blue thing. Hope to win the championship and a few rings. We're talking baseball. It's an orange and blue thing. Walk off if the game's tied like shoestrings. It's a Mets podcast, orange and blue thing. Beat the other team with defense and a few swings. LFGM, it's an orange and blue thing.
What's up, Mets fans? Orange Blue Thing back at you. Season 4, episode 13 out here on Long Island. Another somewhat early show here on a Thursday, September 3rd, 2020. I am Darren Meenan. That is Julia Quadrino. How you doing, Julia?
I'm doing okay. It's a sad day, but I'm all right.
It is a sad day. You know it is? You and I were talking before the show and, texting last night.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, neither of us got to see the greatness of Tom Seaver on the mound. We watched the tapes, seen the newspaper headlines, all the replays from the day of yesteryear when the Mets were the Kings here in New York, and Tom Seaver was the biggest star that they had.
Right.
And reading all the tweets and seeing the different stories pop up from people who have a very strong connection to Tom, not only as a personal friend like Jay Horowitz or someone like a David Wright or Mike Piazza or people that have been coming out, Howie Rose last night on SNY, which we'll get to in a little bit. Fans, so many fans. I was listening to this morning on Boomer and Geo. Fans call in that said that they were there for that day of the 19 strikeout game. Or one guy called in. He said he just got back from Vietnam and he went to that game with his dad.
Oh,
it was
wow.
like something that he'll never forget. Not only coming home from fighting for our country, but having a moment with your father at the ballpark, and that happens.
Yeah, I mean, he was my dad's favorite player, and I had to tell my dad last night. Oh. He didn't know. My dad had asked me to call him for another reason. It was like just as I had found out. So that was really sad. But I had saw a tweet this morning, and it's so true. It's like, somebody was like, I'm a Mets fan because my dad is a Mets fan, and my dad is a Mets fan because he watched Tom Seaver, which is really crazy to think about how many people, because that whole stretch of time, if he's not there, those are some dark years. And the Mets probably don't get as many fans as they have now without him. Well, so it's crazy to think how many people are Mets fans now indirectly because of Tom Seaver.
Well, especially, the Mets coming up in 62, they were not a good team at all. And they got to the World Series and won it in under a decade. And, Tom was a big reason for that. Unfortunately, with the way that his health, deteriorated or went the way it went over the past few years, he hasn't been able to come to New York to take part in a lot of the festivities that were going on. The 1969 reunion, I think that was last year.
Yeah.
Last year also the Seaver Way, naming the street after Seaver.
It's just like, it's so frustrating.
It is.
Like, it's not like he was just inducted, like you were waiting for him to get inducted into the Hall of Fame to do, like, he's been the franchise quite literally for decades. What are we waiting for
to
let him enjoy?
Too late,
exactly. They're giving the statue, and they came up with this stuff like after he retired from public life. So even if he was still alive, he wasn't going to be able to enjoy it. Right. And it's like, why did you wait until? I don't know. I'm not going to speculate in conspiracy, whatever. But Howie Rose was talking last night on SNY about how the Mets mishandled Tom Seaver in a lot of ways, and how within the organization maybe there was some bad blood, at times, and. Was it a spite thing? I don't know. I have no idea, but it doesn't make sense to me why, he's without a doubt the greatest man of all time, one of the greatest pitchers, if not the greatest pitcher of all time. And it's like, I don't know. How is it taking this long to get a statue, anything, as a dedication to him at the stadium? How did it take this long? It makes no sense to me.
Well, we understand that in the COVID era, things production-wise, manufacturing-wise, things could be slowed down a little bit. But I'm pretty sure... my mind is all mixed up with dates and times and stuff, especially with the way the past
I don't know
year
what
has
day
happened.
it is
but
today.
I'm pretty sure, well, it is Thursday, but
Okay,
I'm pretty
true.
sure last year during that 69 weekend, I think they did the Seaver Way on Friday.
Yeah.
And then on that Saturday before the game, we had an outing that day. They did the old cars down Seaver Way with the 1969 Mets at Crane Pool, whoever else.
But he couldn't even be there. He couldn't even see it.
But if they announced the statue that's over a year ago.
Yeah.
Now. It does not take that long to make a statue.
Yeah.
Why it's not already out there, I have no idea. I mean, the Mets would know better than I would.
Well,
but
I mean, I think it's at this point, if maybe they were going to do it this year, but if they can't make money off of, telling people this is the day we're unveiling the statue and everybody would want to go, they're probably going to wait until there's fans in the seats. And
but
it can
now
be
you
a
have
thing.
fans. SNY put out a tweet a little while ago. Fans are going to Citi Field today, dropping off, flowers and starting a little. I wouldn't call it a shrine, but dropping off.
They should let them into
respects.
the parking lot so they could put it on the pitcher's mound where.
I guess they're putting it
where Shea used to be.
Where you see here, that's that entrance on Seaver Way now, which was 126th Street. I guess in front of the building where like the executive offices are.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, it's like that's where you. It's.
If there was a statue, it would be much easier.
Right. I hate throwing the Mets under the bus on some things. I mean, granted, this is a sad day. It's not a day for us to just poop all over the Mets.
Right,
but, if the statue was there, that's where people would be congregating.
And I think a lot of people feel that way. So it's important to talk about it because a lot of people are saying, it's like, it sucks that,
Listen, if we had the money to spend right now on the statue, it wouldn't take a year.
Yeah.
It would not take a year to build a statue.
Yeah.
And I talked to Brody about this down when Brody was on Orange Blue thing, I guess 2 years ago now, whatever it was, a year and a half ago down at spring training. And I brought that up before they even announced the statue thing. I was like, listen, a lot of fans want the statue. What's going on? He kind of danced around it a little bit. He's like, well, we're honoring the 69 guys, yada, yada. And I offered to chip in some money. And he's like, well, are you down to chip in money for other things like, ballpark improvements, players? I'm like, listen, yeah, we do. We buy a lot of tickets, like we buy thousands of tickets a year.
Yeah.
But anyway, you did touch on this Howie Rose clip from last night. And,
I watched this live, and
my
mouth dropped.
You texted me, are you watching SNY right now?
Yeah.
And I wasn't. I was.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize. I guess I should have realized that SNY would be
they were for hours.
Of coverage. Gary Apple, very emotional, playing some old clips.
Yeah.
I think from 2007, Gary Apple and Tom Seaver sat down at SNY was brand new.
Yeah.
Gary Apple was reading off. 311 wins.
Yeah.
2.86 ERA, 3,640 strikeouts over a 20-year career. And before he could finish his sentence, Tom Seaver was like, don't forget, 12 home runs. He hit 12 home runs. But I didn't know
that.
Yeah, so you texted me, are you watching SNY? I said no. And then
I want to preface with the fact that it's entirely possible that this was a coincidence, technological malfunction or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, Howie Rose was going off about how the Mets mishandled Tom Seaver over the course of his playing career, how he wasn't fully appreciated by the organization. And mysteriously, like mid-rant, he just gets like cut off. And you hear like a dial tone and his connection was lost.
Very rare. Howie's great.
Yeah.
Howie does not hold back.
Yeah. And he's a Mets fan. Like, he's
crazy?
A fan.
All this stuff that happens, I'm not talking about this is like something fun that we want to talk about, like Tom Seaver passing away. But things have been happening like where we go to talk about it and it's like a week late.
Yeah.
But last week we had the show on Thursday.
Right.
Last Thursday night they canceled the game.
Mm-hmm.
The Mets and Marlins protested and the T-shirt on home plate and all that. But Howie, before the game, that's when the Brody Van Wagenen and Hot Mike thing came out. And Brody was not holding back at all.
Yeah.
Howie was not. Was that what I said, Brody?
Yeah.
Howie was not holding back at all.
Well, Brody wasn't holding back either.
Right. On 880. And he opened it up with he said his mind.
Yeah.
And last year with the Mets can't wear the first responder caps, he said his mind is, about Joe Torre and MLB, yada, yada.
Yeah.
So last night, when he's on the phone with Gary Apple, he's kind of dropping these truth bombs, and then the call goes blank. So let's play it now, and I guess you could come to your own conclusion here.
Starts kind of quiet. I'm sorry.
I hate to do this to you guys. Liz, you just told me behind the scenes that the audio from the desktop wasn't on. I'm going to play it again really quick. It's only a minute.
Should never have happened. It was Dick Young who had a lot to do with running Tom out of town. It never should have taken place. It's an old story that really doesn't need to be rehashed, but I think the worst mistake that they made was when Tom was finally brought back in 1983, near the end of his career. He wasn't washed up, though. The idea was that he was going to come back to the Mets, win his 300th game as a Met, and hopefully lead some of the young pitchers they had on the way up to better days. Well, then they had that ridiculous compensation pool for free agents who left from one club to go to another, and the Mets, for no understandable reason, this is in late 1983, early 1984, exposed Seaver to that draft, thinking that at the age of going on, well, I guess he was 39 then, nobody was going to take him. Well, the Chicago White Sox took him. I think he won 32 games the next 2 years, and Met fans who go back far enough can look back on 1984 and 1985, two pennant races that the Mets fell a little bit short in, and I can guarantee you this, if Tom Seaver were there in 1984 and 1985, they would have won 3 divisions in a row. That's how dumb that decision was to let him go at the end of the 83 season.
Well, we seem to have lost.
It's just the dial tone that does it for me. Like, it's just so blatant.
It's crazy. And, I want to give technology. I mean, granted, we just had technology problems.
Yes,
I
every
want to
single
give
week.
technology. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
it's we're not SNY,
Right.
And I find it very hard to believe that Howie's on the line, and he wasn't really saying anything that wasn't.
He said
common
nothing that
knowledge.
wasn't true.
Right.
Yeah, it was
and
just
then
his
all
opinion.
of a sudden he's in the middle of his thought, and
Yeah.
So-
It sounded very like when I was watching it live. I was like, what? Because everybody else that was coming on, it was like past players. They're really just talking about like how much he meant to them, how he was a teammate. Like obviously nobody's really being critical of the Mets, but like I mean, Howie speaks for Mets fans because he wasn't a player, he wasn't a teammate, he was a fan of him when he played,
Growing
and
up
now
in Bayside, watching,
right, and now has this different perspective, which is why Howie Rose is the best for Mets fans, because he's not just this objective analyst or whatever. He grew up a Mets fan. He grew up watching Tom Seaver. This is a very hard day for him, and like that's probably anger that a lot of fans are feeling right now, on top of how he wasn't appreciated with the statue and whatever. It's a lot of too little, too late. And like you said, I don't want to.
Who knows? Maybe it really was just that perfect timing. He's
I
done
will
with his
say-
sentence, and the call gets dropped.
Yeah.
But either way, Howie's the man.
Yeah.
And we appreciate and respect Howie.
Yeah. No, I will say also somebody had like tweeted about it, like that was kind of weird, like that whatever, and like tagged his daughter Alyssa, like, oh, what just happened? And Alyssa did say their house has very bad service. I don't know.
It sounded pretty clear for that spot,
I don't
Alyssa.
know.
I don't know about that.
But we'll see.
If you do want to give a call and chime in on your thoughts, maybe you were a fan that was able, or you're now old enough to have gone to some games where Seaver pitched, or maybe you have some great memories of when you met Tom Seaver. Give us a call, 631-388-5195. And as always, we are going to be giving away some free stuff this week. So all you got to do if you're watching live on Facebook, hit that little share button. Tell your friends you're watching Orange and Blue Thing. If you're on Twitter, click the retweet button. And if you're on Instagram and you're watching this on a replay, it goes up in about an hour after the live stream. Just comment, I want some free Met stuff, and we will scroll through and pick someone out to be this week's winner. Last week's winners, we're going to announce that right now. So if you're on Twitter and you were a part of that, I don't know how many people clicked the little retweet button, but the winner is at NoLimit111 on Facebook, Andy Gardecki. And on Instagram, Jukebox Romeo 13. That's a pretty good name.
That's a
Jukebox
good name.
Romeo. You better be a damn good singer. If you well, maybe his name is Romeo, but if you're
I don't
saying
know.
like I'm a Romeo and I'm a good singer,
Yeah, that name implies a lot.
yeah, good singer and a jukebox. Didn't you get a karaoke machine?
I did. I'm so hyped. So my birthday is
Are you a
in
good
2
singer?
weeks. No.
Oh, but you're good enough to sing karaoke.
No. But it's just fun. No, I get like drunk confidence where, when the music is loud enough and I'm not seeing straight anymore. I have fun. But no, I'm just really excited.
But do you
Karaoke.
only sing songs that you know by heart, or do you actually try to read the lyrics?
As long as I know like the beat. Like, if it's like, I'm not sure what the lyrics are, but I know how it goes. Like, it's so awkward when people go up there and sing songs. Like, they don't know, like, how, like, when, you know what I mean? Like, when to say
probably
the
just
word.
scroll through the book, I guess.
Yeah. So this is the thing. So
there even is books anymore in this.
I don't think it's like, so it's like
2020.
a speaker. It comes with microphones and it hooks up to like Bluetooth. So what I think is I can hook up my phone to it, and Katie has that projector. So I'm going to hook that up to the projector, project it onto the side of the house in my backyard. So like people can read the lyrics there and just
That's
like
pretty sweet.
make myself the most hated house in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I was going to say, you should knock on your neighbor's doors.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna give my neighbors a heads up, and I'm gonna shut it down at 11:30
and give them,
I think
like,
I legally have
give them
to.
earphones.
Yeah,
not earplugs.
I'll invite them to come. My neighbors are cool. They know how to party, so I'll invite them over. They can come sing too.
Have you been to New Orleans? Did we talk about this?
We
already?
have talked about this. I have not been there.
So I went to a bachelor party in New Orleans and stayed on Bourbon Street.
New Orleans. We've been through this.
Yeah. But did I tell you that my room came with earplugs?
No.
Yeah, because it's nuts.
It's a
it's a
madhouse.
nonstop party.
Yeah.
And I think they close the street for like an hour just to clean it up every morning. But
That's crazy.
on the bed what do they call it? The end table.
Sure.
On the end table, when you
Nightstand.
get there, nightstand, whatever, it was like, hey, welcome to the hotel, yada yada, and just earplugs.
Wow.
It's like, just don't call us. Don't call the front desk and say it's loud.
Also,
because-
don't go to New Orleans if you don't like loudness.
Exactly.
You should know better. It's nice of them that they took that initiative because they definitely didn't have to.
Well, the only time I usually need earplugs is when I share a room with Shoemaker.
Does he snore?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's
like sharing a room with Andrew. When I stay with Andrew and Amanda, he has like his sleep machine to keep him from snoring, and that's
push
even
him.
worse.
Like he's a heavy sleeper
Yeah.
and he snores, so like I have no problem. He doesn't care either. Like I'll really just give him a quick and he'll usually move around and it stops.
Yeah. Is it like when he's on his back, or like does he need to be on a certain side?
No, I think it's just anything.
Just
But he
terrible.
bought one of those what do they call it, like Zipa or something?
I don't know.
The thing you like bite on, and he tried it. It worked for a little bit, but I don't know. Hopefully it's working out for you, Shu. And now that I'm just telling everyone about Shu, he went to a sleep study. He had to like stay over.
No,
And
really?
they tested him, and he's like, "How do you expect him to get a good night's sleep? They keep waking you up."
Yeah.
You know. Anyway,
Oh, that's fun.
let's hit the phones. We got Glenn on Long Island. What's up, Glenn? How you doing?
Hey guys, how you doing? Thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely.
So yeah, just a quick story about meeting Tom Seaver. Like you guys, I grew up with the 90s and early 2000s Mets.
Yeah.
We used to, fly down for spring training, and anyone that's been there recently, the parking area for the players, you can kind of peek through, but it's usually covered with some kind of graphics. Back in the day, it was just a chain link fence, and you could kind of just sit there and, watch the guy show up for the day. And one day I was standing there. It was just me and my dad. There was no crowd or nothing. And Mike Hampton walked by. And I asked him for an autograph, and he blew me off, but he was a real jerk about it.
Aww.
I don't remember exactly what he said, but I hear right behind him, I hear, I ain't too big to sign your ball, kid. And I look up, and it's Tom Seaver.
Holy
No way.
crap.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
So
I
it's
hope
just
Mike
a
Hampton heard
testament
that too.
Oh, yeah. Just a testament to the kind of guy he is, creating a lifelong memory for a fan.
For sure.
And at the same time, calling out an uppity player on his
Yeah,
team.
that's awesome.
That is great.
I love that.
Thanks for calling in, Glenn. Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you guys. Take care.
Have a good one.
That's so cool. It's so cool to know too that he wasn't, because like I said, we didn't grow up with him, so we don't know how it was, but like that he was like fan friendly like that, like one of those people, like David writes the same way. You're never too big to give
That's
fans
awesome.
attention.
I like
It's
hearing
awesome.
that. Because you know what it is? Like, you only get one chance at a first impression. And, we talked about, I don't know if we talked about this publicly, but like, even with me, like, people are like, I don't like Darren. He's a dick. He thinks that he's the fucking best Mets fan. Like, I've never said that. I don't think I'm the best Mets fan.
I can't help but laugh when I read shit
but
like that.
Anyway, like, when you meet a player, and I've met a bunch, not freaking pat myself on the back, but like, I've unfortunately never got to meet Tom Seaver because by the time the 7 line started and, I started getting invited to more things, he wasn't really around.
Right.
But the players that I have met, I mean, I could tell you, like, certain guys, like, people be like, oh, John Roush is so cold. And so, like, he was so cool with us. Like, he came to our warehouse in Jamaica.
Didn't you see him at like a CVS or something?
He lived on the, like, down the block from me. So he would pass my apartment, and then I had a balcony overlooking Northern Boulevard.
Right.
When I was living in Queens, and he lived in like Great Neck or something. So he would drive his Jeep, and he'd be like, yo, and I'd look out, and he'd be like downstairs
That's so
or
cool.
something. Yeah, he was the man.
That's awesome.
Him and I went to a bar once when he was hurt. He couldn't travel with the team, and then he's like, oh, you want to go to a game tomorrow in DC? I was like, sure. He gave me his room.
Whoa, no way.
His player room. So I get off the elevator on the player's floor with his room key. I signed in. I'm like, oh, John Roush.
It's me. I'm John Roush.
I was so sick. So
I can't believe I have to stand
anyway,
John Roush
the
in the
man.
year 2020.
But
That's
you could be
insane.
like, yo, John Roush, he's just like, he wasn't the best pitcher.
No,
he got
but you
a lot of
remember
hate.
him because he's a good. Like you probably would not remember his name if he wasn't as good of a guy as he was.
He was so cool. He was great with us. He came to the warehouse and just hung out. He was just like all about being a New Yorker for that
That's
short
awesome.
time. But there are a couple guys I've met, and I'm like, oh, that really stinks. Like you don't want to get a bad first impression.
Yeah, for sure.
But this funny story, I'm not going to say the player, but I don't know if I told you this story about spring training. I was down there. I was by myself.
What year?
Right when the calendar first started with the girls.
So like 2012?
12, 13
Okay.
maybe. So I'm down there. I'm at the bowling alley at Duffy's, whatever, and I was talking with one of the players, and the players back then, before they stopped going to the bowling alley, they were all using one lane.
Yeah.
And they're like, the one guy was like, hey, this is Darren. He does that 7-line stuff. I was like, yeah, that's cool. And then this other guy was like, oh, wait, you do the calendar with all the girls in it? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh.
I know who this is.
Come
I
sit,
know who this
hang
is.
out. I'm like, yeah. I was like, I don't really know the girls,
Right,
but
right.
like,
Except
they're
my wife or girlfriend at the time.
Yeah. I was like, they're part of the brand, whatever. And then they wanted to be friends. But anyway, share the show, get involved. If you're listening afterwards on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, wherever else you may be listening, to get involved in the free stuff each week, just go to the video feed, and you have a full week to enter the contest. You give away stuff each week. Julia gave away like our entire business last night on
Okay,
Big Apple
listen.
Trivia.
I want to
She
reiterate.
texted me afterwards. They had 3 grand prize winners.
I want
sorry,
to
that's
remind
Lizzie.
you
That's Lizzie in the background. What's
that,
up, Lizzie?
that Darren and I, when we first started
had a formula.
fleshing out the idea for the show, I said, I'm like, this is the lowest amount of money we could ever give away in a show, and this is the highest. If everyone were to win, this is... And it was... And he's like, we can't... Like, how did this happen? I'm like,
That's fine.
you approved it.
It would be fine if like that much wins every...
So
once in a while,
yes.
But if it's last night every week, we'll have to cancel the show.
No, I'm
We'll
gonna.
have to sell the business.
I talked about this last week. My
She
issue.
gave away like $200 last night.
225. 225. But I need to reiterate. I said this last week. It is getting very hard to come up with new Mets
a couple
trivia
hard
questions
for the
So
end.
I'm trying to come up with
Like,
the whole
how
plate
many
round
hairs
questions.
are on my head? Like,
Like I'm trying to make them hard, but like I also don't want to be a dick and make them completely like ungettable. Because then it's like people are like, well, what's the point in playing if I'm gonna get to the last round and embarrass myself?
Listen, if anyone was watching last night, you probably gave a whole bunch of people confidence that they should watch next week because they could probably win. But
I thought
it's fine.
one of the questions was, I think, a little easier. It was, can I tell you? So I've had a very...
I saw the one, I pop in and out.
Yeah.
But the one guy, I think the answer was Ty Wigington,
Yes.
third baseman, whatever. And
Yes.
he just jumped in and said Todd Zeal.
Yeah, he asked to use this attempt to steal, and I was going to read him the choices. And when I read the choices, I think it's really obvious. Mm-hmm. But he jumped in, he said Todd Zeal. I was like, oh, I don't know if like somebody said that. This is the thing. So I have friends who play along, and they specifically play in the chat. And to catch people cheating, they will just spit out completely wrong.
Yeah,
and I know they're cheating if they say, like, I think the first guy went, and there was like other people in the room with him, and it was like his whole family. So I wasn't going to be like a stickler and be like, all right, everybody has to be in the frame. But one of the questions, the answer was like a pitcher. I was, and I don't remember exactly what the question was, but I saw one of my friends in the chat wrote LaDuca, which was totally not right. And I hear the wife go LaDuca, and I'm like, are we cheating? Because I can see that that's not whatever. And he's like, no. And I don't think, I really don't think he meant to cheat. Maybe the wife like was just trying to like whatever. I don't think they planned it that way, but. Yeah, I think that might have been the same guy. It might have been the Ty Wigington. I don't know. But yeah, don't cheat because we'll catch you. But yeah, and so I kind of feel like it's every time that I give away a lot of money on Big Apple Trivia is when we have technical difficulties on Orange and Blue thing. It's like because there's technical difficulties on Big Apple Trivia every single night.
Right.
And I think it's bad karma. It translates over. So we got to have started.
But you roll with it well. I like it.
I tried.
I like it better when you don't give away like $800, but it's pretty good. All right, let's hit the phones again. We have Al in New Jersey. What's up, Al?
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
I thought maybe you'd be Al Dukes in New Jersey.
I was thinking that too.
I was 14 years old. I was at the Jimmy Qualls game. I was watching from the upper deck, my usual perch, and cut out of a lot of school that year. They all knew, the teachers all knew. There was a bunch of us. We were at Shea Stadium, so they didn't come looking for us. But, I still remember when Jimmy Qualls got the hit.
they would have needed a police escort to get him out of Shea Stadium. It was crazy.
Oh, did you cry? I feel like at that age, like when I was at Johann's no-hitter. No,
I was
a
big boy.
No-hitter. But like, if like you
actually, I was at the very first Met game at the Polo Grounds.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I'm just an old, you know what? I guess we could say it on this. I'm an old fart, you know.
I just said no titter, so it's fine.
Yeah.
The only thing I really remember, I was 7 years old, and the only thing I remember of the Polo Grounds was asking my cousin, I said, where's center field?
Right,
where's the fence? And he says, well, you see that building way out there? That's where it is. And it was like the building might have been across the river in the Bronx. It was so far away.
The dimensions of the Polo Grounds are so wild. I can't believe that they actually played baseball like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, and if you look, you look now how close it was to Yankee Stadium. Look at the pictures and everything.
Yeah.
But Shea Stadium was like our home. And, I was driving home from Connecticut last night, and I was surprised. I didn't realize the game was early, and they're doing the recap, and I'm listening. And then Wayne was doing his show, and he said, "We just got this from the Daily News." And I was on 95 in Connecticut. I almost drove off the road.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my God!" I mean, you knew the guy. He wasn't in great shape and everything, but it was so sad. I actually pulled over for a minute or two. I got out an exit and just pulled and shut the vehicle off.
Yeah.
And then I was listening to Howie talk, and they had trouble talking with him because Eddie C. They were talking to, and a few others. And every time they tried to get Howie, he had a problem with the phone.
Oh, okay.
It might have been.
Okay.
It might have been, but listening to what you played, I didn't hear the Gary Apple thing until you put it on.
Yeah.
But when I listened to it on yours, I said they cut him off.
Yeah, like it sounds like.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
They cut him off, and I don't mean to be babbling on, but
no.
And I just want to tell you, I have seats in 419, the handicap row, not because I'm my friend that I shared the plan with handicap, but we love watching you guys across the field.
Thanks,
so we just love it. And, and of course, everybody has their great comments and everything.
Join in on the strikeout chants. I don't know how that hasn't caught on around the whole stadium.
Well,
yet.
from up there, you probably the man who invented the strikeout. His name is Mike the King.
The King.
He's probably up near you in the 400 area. You probably hear him do the strikeouts.
Yeah.
Maybe he's in 500.
Yeah. I think 513.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, yeah, he's right. He's like about one section over and up.
Yeah, he holds the heat for like maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah, that man could have never been a smoker with his lung strength. I don't know how he does it.
If you could believe this, we were in 421 up until 2 years ago, and there's this family that was below us. And I kind of make comments. I don't curse or anything, but I'm that guy like in Major League. I make the comments like Dennis Quaid did, his character.
Right.
And these people actually, the lady comes over to me and says, you're a little too loud.
What? I hate that so much.
I said, this isn't, I'm not in the synagogue, I'm not in church. This is a ballpark.
Yeah.
This is, if I wanted to not be loud, I'd stay in the house and throw pillows at the television, like my father used to do.
Yep.
And luckily, we went over 2 sections, but every once in a while, she still glares over at me.
That's crazy.
And
that's so obnoxious. You're at a stadium. You're a baseball fan. If you don't want to hear fans cheering, don't go to the stadium.
You know what, Al?
Exactly.
I think we want to give you some free stuff.
Hell yeah.
So what we do a thing called What's in the Box. We have 3 boxes behind us. Just pick 1, 2, or 3, and then Lizzie's going to get your address. We'll mail it out to you, all right?
Oh, yeah, you don't have to.
No,
That's
we will.
Fine, but I'll give
we want it.
That's nice anyway. I appreciate it.
We want it. 1, 2, or 3.
I'll tell you one thing, though. One quick thing, if you have a second.
Sure.
It was a Mike Hampton story, believe it or not. And it was a Subway Series game. I used to go with my son, who's 32 now, big Mets fan, but he's in Texas. And we would go with his friend and his father, who was a Yankee fan. And we tailgated. And the kids were playing catch, and the kids put a sign up, free. I think they put free hot dogs for the Met players, and all others pay. Hampton comes by, and I said, "Hey, Mike, you want a hot dog?" He says, "No, you got a soda. That would be great." And I said, "Sure." So we give him a soda, and the kids were having a catch, and he says, "Can I play with them?" And I go, "Yeah."
I don't know what to think about Mike Hampton now. I'm so conflicted.
Yeah, he actually, and the one time I actually met Tom, and this was later on, and I could tell he was kind of bitter. He just looked bitter that day. And there were these two kids were asking him for a ball or signature, and he just looked at them and he wouldn't do it. So,
wow.
And I think it was just
everybody has good and bad days.
I'm just saying it was a bad day.
Yeah.
I told the two kids who were waiting there after. I says, you don't know what happened today. He might have had a problem.
True.
So don't feel bad. He's a really nice guy, and he's a great man. You got to meet him. And that's more important than getting a signature or anything. It's just meeting the people. So
wow. Okay, so now we have both ends of it.
So if you don't want any free stuff, we're going to let you go. But if you do, you can pick 1, 2, or 3. Otherwise, it was great talking to you.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, I'll hang on the line, sure.
Sure. All right. So just pick 1, 2, or 3, and then we'll...
Pick a number.
1, 2, or 3.
2.
All right, great. We'll open that up and send it out to you, all right?
All right, thanks.
I am so confused.
Okay. Here's what happened.
Hold on. Let's just recap.
Yes.
We've had 2 callers.
Yes.
They both had Mike Hampton and Tom Seaver stories.
Polar opposites.
Our first caller, I don't know his name. The first caller,
Glenn from Long Island.
Glenn said Mike Hampton was a dick.
Yes.
And Tom Seaver was the man.
The best.
Al calls and says Mike Hampton was so cool because he got a soda from us and said
to play catch.
Didn't want a hot dog and played catch with the kids.
Yeah.
But Tom Seaver was bitter. What? I'm confused. Do you think Al heard that first phone call? And
yes, I think he was responding to that first call, being like, "Oh, well, Mike Hampton was really nice this one time. Tom Seaver was kind of."
I don't know if I don't want to call. I'm not.
Well, we know he
anyone.
was listening because he referenced, like he said, the Howie thing.
I don't know what to think about this Al call now.
That was the greatest way that call could have gone.
Because I'm looking at you with my. Seriously, I don't know if my mouth was open.
You were like, what?
But I'm very confused.
I think he heard it, and I think he was trying to defend Mike Hampton and make the point that
maybe he's friends with. Maybe Al is like Mike Hampton's long lost cousin or something. That was freaking crazy. Anyway, what else is crazy is there's only 23 games left to play. The Mets are playing the Yankees again today at 4:10 at Citi Field. And then they're going to be home for a little bit. I don't know who comes in after that. But I know that if they're going to do anything, it's got to be now, because the way that this whole playoff thing worked out this season with there being 8 teams from each league making it, at this point, the Mets wouldn't even be in.
No.
And they're really only a few more games away from being out. Let's put it.
I think that they're making it pretty clear that they've kind of given up.
Not really. If you're giving up after losing 5 straight games, and you get Todd Frazier hitting cleanup yesterday.
That's one way you're giving up.
Why
also,
is Todd Frazier even on this team?
Why is Todd Frazier on the team? Why is he batting cleanup? Why is David Peterson in the bullpen when he's your second best starter? If he's healthy enough to pitch, why isn't he starting?
It worked out yesterday
because
he did, like what their plan was
great,
yesterday. He came
still.
in 4 innings out of the pen, whatever. I mean, the whole reason why they moved Lugo to the rotation was because they needed rotation help, and then that weakens the bullpen. So now they're moving Matz and Peterson.
But why are you moving starters to the bullpen so your best reliever can start? Why don't you just have your starter start and your best reliever relieve? I don't really get it.
And we're not Brody. And with the news, Friday was like the best day to be a Mets fan maybe in a very long time, because the Mets won 2 come from behind games against the Yankees during the doubleheader on Friday. Those 7 innings shortened games.
Dom Smith with the go-ahead home run.
Dom Smith's killing
that.
it, and and then right after the game is over, or maybe towards the end of it, the news breaks that Steve Cohen's basically on the last leg of acquiring the team. So momentum is high. I wasn't really sure exactly what to feel. Everyone's excited. I wrote the tweet, took back New York with the question mark. I'm not saying we did take it back, but that's why it was a question. That gets some traction on the internet. It fuels the haters a little bit, but it gets other people fired up.
And then
but then Saturday comes along. The Mets, then that was a single game. They blew that one.
Yeah.
Betances wild pitch lost 2-1 to the Yankees on Saturday, and then Sunday, the Mets gave up 5 runs in the 7th to tie it, and then the Yankees walked it off in the 8th in Game 1. So the weekend was such the high. The weekend was met the epitome of being what a Mets fan is. The highest of highs to the lowest of lows within a 12 to 18 hour span.
Yep.
And everyone thinks that Stevie Cohen's coming in, he's going to clean house, he's going to bring in all these analytics people, he's going to fire Brody, he's going to fire Luis.
I hope he doesn't do that.
Well,
Brody can go, but I would want to give Rojas another chance.
You know what it is? It's this year is like you said, you're calling it like the fake season or whatever you want to call it. Like you can't really get into it. I understand what you're talking about. Like the Mets are only playing the NL East, they're only playing the AL East. This is not a real quote unquote season, but they are still playing real baseball games, and there will be a real World Series trophy at the end of this weird 60 game season.
Yeah.
Well, plus the playoffs, obviously, but it's just a weird time to be a fan in general, and I'm not that heartbroken after losses right now because I'm like, you know what, this year's so weird anyway.
Yeah, I like I said,
I'm happy when they win because it's like gives you something to be excited about.
It's like a serotonin boost. You can't help but be happy. It's your favorite team winning, but when they lose, I'm just like, all right, whatever. Yeah. Try again tomorrow.
Right.
Like I said, I've never seen them as win a World Series before. I don't want this year to be the first because it just doesn't seem legit. It's not like I can't go to a game. I can't root for them. Like 2015. I was at every single playoff game at Citi Field, sitting with 7 line. I can't imagine, like, not even having the opportunity to do that if they were in the World Series, like, not even being able to, like, sell my soul for tickets. Like, I can't picture it. Like, being forced to sit on my couch on my delayed Fire Stick feed as I'm getting the updates on Twitter. Like, it would suck.
Yeah.
Sucks.
So annoying.
So I don't, not that I'm rooting against them. I can never root against them. But if they were to lose this year, I would not hate it.
So on Sunday, when the Mets, in game 1 of that doubleheader, granted 7 innings, just get to 7 innings, right? Mm-hmm. After going into the 7th, when the Mets were up 5 runs, it was a 1 in 500 chance to win.
And I want it to be noted that on this paper, you have that bolded.
Bold, because I can't. It's too late for me to find it now. But Fangraphs, I guess, is the one that put up the stats of the win probability or whatever. So 1 in 500. What's his Sterling from the Yankees starts talking about it. I was like, I don't know what Fangraph is, but yeah, like he was just like trying to get into it.
Aww.
And 1 in 500 chance, and the Mets still freaking blew the game. But we want to highlight something because each week we talk about someone who definitely needs to reset and chill, and this man
repeat offender.
Yeah, back-to-back
no
winners
pun intended.
Of the needing to reset and chill is Mr. Pete Alonso, who looked a little lost here and strikes out swinging and breaks his bat like a twig over his knee. But this was actually old. Wait a minute.
No, that's not the right.
I pulled up the wrong one.
He did the same thing. There were just no fans in the stands.
Yeah.
And he walked to the other dugout.
That was the dead giveaway.
But he did the same thing.
Because I'm like, wait a minute. This does not make any sense. There's fans there. That's my bad.
No, but he
pulled
did.
Up the wrong one,
it looked exactly like that.
It looked just like that, and Pete did it again on Saturday.
He's a big, strong man, and he just can do that more than once.
So,
on that note,
even though the game starts in 4 hours, maybe Pete doesn't want to reset right now. But after the game, maybe he can celebrate with a nice Coors Light. Go to get.CoorsLight.com to have your beer delivered. I put in 41 Seaver Way, the address of Citi Field. If Pete or anyone else on the team wants to get a nice delivery over there, I bet you they probably have the hookup. But if they want to go to get.CoorsLight.com, type in your location. Scroll down, select all the items you want to add in your cart. You can get Coors Lights, you can get Blue Moons, you can get cans, you can get bottles, you can get a whole bunch of stuff delivered right to you wherever you may be. It's super easy. Use your credit card, type it in, verify your age, and get it delivered. So get.CoorsLight.com. Good friends of the program. We had so many awesome things planned with them. I've talked about this now, almost every week, how many cool things we had planned with Coors Light.
Yeah.
Hopefully next year, if fans are back in the stands and we can, pregame and tailgate and go to bars together and so on and so forth, we could partake in all this fun stuff that we were hoping to do with Coors Light. But, I wrote down here, if we got time to it, I do want to plan something where we can get together before the end of the year.
Let's go.
There's 23 games left to play. The Mets are guaranteed to only play like 3 more weeks of baseball.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen over that time? I mean, they are going to play the Braves, who are in first place. Toronto's playing well. We'll see what happens. They're playing the Phillies a bunch of times, and who are ahead of us in the standings, and Toronto. So we'll see. There's not much time to make up, but maybe like that last weekend. It's like Saturday night. Maybe we could do something. I got a projector.
There we go.
I have a gigantic like roll down screen.
Okay.
But the projector, I was looking at it afterwards. It projects, I think, 300 inches, which is like 25 feet. That's big.
That's really big.
25-foot screen. And, we have speakers already from all this stuff. So
right.
maybe we could set something up. We just have to figure out a place
Socially
to do it.
distant seating.
Outdoors.
Wear your mask.
Bring some chairs.
Yeah.
Wear a mask if you're walking around. Kind of similar to like when you go to a bar now. You go to like a beer garden or whatever.
When
They're
you're sitting
open.
at your table, you're fine.
Right.
You can wear your mask off. But if you're walking around, wear your mask.
Yeah. So we're not going to plan this like giant blowout, but like maybe bring the screen. I could stream it from my laptop basically with my hotspot and set up some speakers and hang out. Either it's going to be like a celebration of, hey, we're making the playoffs, or it's like, hey, this season was weird and tomorrow's the last day of the year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the second one.
Last day of the year?
First. Yeah,
I don't know. Either way, I mean, it's like I said, it's a fun thing to do right now. Watch the games and enjoy, have something to do.
Yeah.
It's freaking wild that it's September already.
I know.
Summer's over.
I know.
Well, not technically, it's not. Labor Day weekend is always like the end of summer.
And that's like my birthday is the 18th, and I truly my entire I know technically it's like a summer birthday, but like I never people are like, oh, I have a winter birthday, but like I don't know because it's kind of fall. It's definitely not summer. Like I used to always be in school. It's once you hit September, it just doesn't feel like summer anymore. It's not Labor Day weekend yet. It's a late Labor Day, so I guess you can stretch it out until then. But it's starting to feel like fall. Me and Erica, my roommate, have been lighting fall scented candles in the house and just very gung ho fall at this point.
Yeah, I'm going away. I'm going to another race this weekend, and I was looking at the temps. Nighttime sleeping, so on and so forth. It seemed like 57 degrees Saturday night.
Where is it?
In Jersey.
Wow.
But I mean, it's only like 3 degrees different from here.
No, yeah,
no
I thought maybe
where.
like it was like upstate or something.
No,
That's
I'm going
crazy.
in Jersey, and it's 57. It's perfect. Open the windows, throw on a hoodie.
Yeah, but that's not summer weather.
No, I'm looking for. I don't like to sweat.
No, fall's my favorite season.
I'm not
I
big.
love fall. I love fall.
I'm not big on swimming. I'm not big
on.
on.
You just built a pool in your backyard.
What
do you mean?
I don't mind going 10 feet and swimming.
Okay.
I'm not big on like, hey, let's load up and go sit on a chair at the beach. I'm not. Okay. I can't. I need an activity.
What is this? Amelia is selling seashells.
She made $38.
That is so cute.
$38.
I love it.
So for those who don't know what we're talking about, we went to Davis Park, Fire Island.
Proof that he does like the beach.
Well, Kelly's family from Colorado comes in every year, and they
Okay.
rent the same house, and we take the ferry over from Patchogue. So it's like, honestly, it's like 3 miles from our house if you think of it that way. But Kelly, when she was younger, would always collect shells on the beach, paint them, and sell them, and when the ferry comes in, So Amelia had everybody working for her. She didn't even really draw on many on her own. Like, she had us do all the work and, like, Kelly's cousins and stuff. So Saturday night or Friday night, whatever, we're painting shells. And Kelly's cousin's husband goes, Amelia, am I allowed to use the bathroom? She goes, yeah, I'll allow it. Like, she was, like, running it like it was, like, a real
your
shop.
daughter.
It was crazy.
She's an entrepreneur.
She's like, yeah, you can go. You can go to the bathroom. So she goes down there and sets up her table, and her sales pitch, no one told her to do this, was awesome.
What was
she
it?
gets it in their head that they want to buy two before they even so like, hey, how much?
She's your daughter.
She is your daughter.
How much are the shells? And she goes, well, it's 2 for $2 or 1 for $1. So right off the bat, they're like, 2 for $2, okay. Like, didn't even
that's
really
what
give
you
them the
said
option
first.
to get one. It was
No, that's
awesome.
psychological. You say it first, and that's what they're going to want to do.
It was great. She made $38. So,
That's
but like, we're only there for a few minutes. So she
Yeah.
made $17 one day, and it was like 10 minutes.
Holy crap.
And then $9 the next, and $5 on like Tuesday because no one's really there on
I
Tuesday.
love it.
Yeah, $38.
I told you, she reminds me so much of me when I was little. I would do the same. I would sell like pipe cleaners.
She killed it. It was awesome.
insane.
I was blown away. Shells for sale. Shells for sale. It was awesome. So, but then she had everyone else working for her.
Yeah, that's an entrepreneur. She knows what she's doing.
It was so awesome.
That's awesome.
All right, let's hit the phones. We got Mitch in Brooklyn. What's up, Mitch?
How you guys doing? Good morning.
Good morning.
It's a sad day in Metland, let me tell you. It's, I don't know, as a Met fan, being a Met fan my whole life, I don't know if we've ever experienced a loss like this, quite a long time. Maybe Gary Carter, but he wasn't a lifetime player. Didn't come up through the ranks like Seaver did, but it's a sad day. It's a sad day for all of us. And I had a couple of Mets memories, especially with Seaver. I remember being there as a kid in '77 when he came back as a Cincinnati Red and pitched against us, against his good friend Kuzman. And, Harrelson didn't fare very well against him as well. And as I recall, the Reds won that game. He got an amazing ovation, and I remember feeling the stadium rock that day, even as a little kid. And then I remember being there for his retirement, his number being retired in '88. Also there with my brother. That was an awesome day. The weather was great, and he was just amazing, especially at the end when he ran out to the mound to take his bow. It was just poetic of Tom Seaver. And then I remember the caller you just had a very unflattering memory of Seaver. Mm-hmm. Seaver wasn't really known as a very, very warm and fuzzy kind of guy. Some may agree with me, some may differ with me, but I remember going to a card show. I believe it was in '88 when the Mets were just either in the playoffs or just about to get to the playoffs, and he was at a card show. And I remember after getting his autograph, he was in some kind of I don't remember. He was up on stage. It may have been a gymnasium. I don't really remember. But he was up on stage. I got my autograph, and he signed a picture. And afterwards, I remember he got up from behind the table, and he started to walk off the stage. Maybe he was going to the men's room. I'm not sure. But there was this little kid that asked him when he was walking to sign something. I remember maybe it was a baseball or a picture, and he just waved his hand, and he sort of like dismissed the little kid. And he was, and I remember he was really sad about it, the little boy, and he was with his dad, and they were in front of me. And it's sort of like, I said to myself, my God, you couldn't even stop to sign a baseball for this little boy. And I get it, guys get paid for their public appearances and stuff, but, that left a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth. But there's no taking away the fact that he was just, everything that everybody's making him out to be, and what we remember him as the franchise is Tom Terrific. And one other thing I just wanted to point out, if by any stretch or any chance, and I know he is listening, Steve Cohen, listen up, okay? Listen up to me. I put this out there. Congratulations. We can't wait for you to take over the team and turn this baby around, this debacle. But it's time to rename the Jackie Robinson Rotunda, now the Tom Seaver Rotunda. And I say that with all due respect to Jackie Robinson, but truth be told, every one of us knows Jackie Robinson never played for us. He never wore the uniform of the New York Mets. And I have all the respect in the world for what Jackie Robinson stands for. But Jackie Robinson should not be the first thing you see when you go into Citi Field. That should be, if you're going to memorialize or pay tribute to any great legend, make it a Met, for God's sake. Make it somebody who's epitomized wearing the uniform. The Yankee. You don't go into Yankee Stadium and see somebody from the Boston Red Sox or any other team. I mean, make it the Mets. And now is as good a time as any. The old ownership or the ownership that's going away, really, they lost their opportunity to make a statue, put the statue out in front of Citi Field for him while he was alive. Yeah. This is probably the best thing you can do right now to pay tribute to the best player that ever wore the uniform. How do you guys feel about it?
So I think just the current climate of the world, I don't think they're going to get rid of the Jackie Robinson Rotunda anytime soon.
And Mitch, we're going to let you go, Mitch. Thank you for calling.
I completely agree that there should be, as much as you see Jackie Robinson, you should see Tom Seaver.
It's never going. Listen,
it's never going away. I think they should rename the stadium Seaver Stadium.
Well, it's not going to be called Citi Field forever.
But Steve Cohen has all the money in the world. We don't need Citi anymore. We don't need Citibank. Make it Seaver Stadium.
I understand what he's talking about.
Yeah.
But you're never. It's going to be Jackie Robinson Rotunda forever.
Oh no, it's not going
You
anywhere.
can't take that down. Once it's up, it's up. The
And
name's up.
I don't mind
the
it.
42's there. No, I mean, with the way the state of the world right now.
Yes, especially.
You can. There would be no worse look in the world for the Mets to rename an area that was dedicated to Jackie Robinson.
No, I don't think that Jackie Robinson, it shouldn't go anywhere, but I completely agree that as much as you see Jackie Robinson, you should see Tom Seaver.
Of course.
Mike Piazza, David Wright.
I get what he's saying. I understand what he's talking about, but comparing, well, you don't see a Red Sox Yankee stand.
No,
that's apples to oranges.
Not the same thing.
Jackie Robinson's importance to
in New York history,
not only
too.
New York history, but the world and sports and baseball as a whole, and Fred being such a big fan growing up. That's why it is what it is. Absolutely. That's why the ballpark is shaped the way it is with the archways and stuff. Yeah. It's not going away.
Yeah.
But I get what he's saying. While I don't agree with it, I understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
It's just not going away. And if you would have asked me years ago, before the world is what it is these days, maybe I would agree with him, but not today and not going forward. It's Jackie Robinson's Rotunda forever. I
never thought it should I liked this is one of my favorite parts of the stadium. I liked that they did it. I thought it was cool. I thought it was classy. I never had an issue with it, but I do completely agree that if we're going to honor somebody who wasn't a Met so much this way, you have to honor the people who were Mets too. You have to give I know he has an entrance.
Well, for this, I think
on.
the whole Jackie Robinson Rotunda was more about Jackie Robinson, the man, not Jackie Robinson, the Dodger.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And that's why it is what it is. But it's never going away.
No, and it shouldn't.
It shouldn't. So that's it. Quick shout out to our friends over at Dugout Mugs. They're doing great things down there in Florida. Hit them up, dugoutmugs.com/OABT, and that gives you 30% off site-wide. Anything you see on their site, whether it be Mets, whether it be their photo mugs, their signature series, anything you might want to pick up, they do great work down there. They basically, if you're not watching live and you don't know what I'm talking about, they take a baseball bat, they chop off the top, hollow it out, and turn it into a mug. So then, not to waste anything, they also turn the bottom into a bottle opener. They call it the knob shot. So I'm not the knob shot, the season opener, and then the knob shot is the shot mug. I keep saying glass, but it's not a glass.
It's not a glass.
It is handcrafted down there in Florida. They do excellent work. Definitely go check them out. Dugoutmugs.com. I think we're gonna have one of the guys on the show next week. They have some cool stuff going on in the month of September. They're calling it Signature September, I believe, where every single day on their social media, they're giving away some free stuff.
Oh, cool.
So definitely follow all their social accounts. You could find them at Dugout Mugs pretty much everywhere, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. They do great stuff, and we definitely stand by them. They were the only brand with the MLB license for the mugs. So definitely go check them out and tell them that Orange and Blue thing sent you. So, thanks to the callers today. I think we got another one coming. We could probably take another one if we got some time. Maybe not. Maybe we can. Everyone's got different feelings, and you hear that about a lot of players, and it's sad to hear after the fact when someone says, you know what, that guy wasn't as nice as I thought he would have been. Or
fame is a very weird thing. Being famous is not the human brain is not equipped to handle what comes with fame and random people coming up to you at random times demanding your attention and expecting you to be in a good mood every single time.
Is that how it's been after Big Apple Trivia for you? Or?
Shut up. No. Yes. No. But it's very strange. So I'm more inclined to believe that Tom Seaver is like the man that Glenn described, who he was never too big to sign a kid's ball. You can catch people on a bad day. Sometimes people are busy. Sometimes people really, if they have to go to the bathroom or something, you don't know. I do think and I'm just any chance to plug David Wright as the greatest man in the world, I'll take it. But he really was one of those people. You ask him for anything, me personally, and I always made sure whenever I was asking him for anything, it was at the stadium, not on his own time. But he never said no. Right. If he had the time to do something, he wasn't literally leaving the field to go get ready, he always took the time. And I think that's awesome. And I don't think we have enough. It was such a small sample size of Tom Seaver stories that we just had to really determine, if he was that way or not. But I'm inclined to believe that somebody who sees Mike Hampton blow off a kid and then takes it upon himself to offer.
Right.
I'm inclined to believe that's who he is.
Yeah, I would love to believe that too. And it's winning 3 Cy Youngs and the amount of wins he's had in the ERA, we're almost seeing like a modern day DeGrom.
Yeah.
You know, if things work out this year and he wins his third Cy Young, he definitely won't be getting the wins because we all know how that goes when DeGrom's on the hill. But you know, Tom Seaver was a Marine. He was, you know, he was such a larger than life man.
Loved his wine.
You know, over the past, you know, however many years going through what he's been going through, we'd want to believe that he's now in a better place.
Oh yeah.
You know, going through the dementia and the horrors of that.
That's the worst, man.
So, you know, rest easy to Tom for sure. Yeah, it's just a sad day. And, you know, thank you to everyone who wanted to call. And you know, I see we're getting a lot of calls now, but we are an hour-long show. So maybe we'll be able to take some next week. But, yeah, I don't know what the Mets are going to do next. I mean, the statue is definitely, you know, long overdue. Mm-hmm. They'll probably wear some kind of patch.
If they don't, it's ridiculous.
I'm sure they will. I mean, they have to. And, you know, do something for a charity and donate the proceeds and so on and so forth if fans want to purchase them. So, I mean, I know that's what they did after Rusty Staub passed away and Gary Carter, the kid ate with the home plate.
Those were nice.
Yeah. So... a sad day to be a Mets fan, and you know, there is a game going on in about 4 hours from now, so I'm sure we're going to hear a lot on the broadcast today from Gary, Keith, and Ron, and Howie and Wayne in the booth. You know, it's definitely a sad day, but you know, it's great to be able to have these memories and moments to think back on and feel fondly about and you know, remember that way. So I guess that's another week of Orange Blue Thing in the books. If you want to get involved in the free stuff, share the show. If you're watching on Facebook, retweet on Twitter, comment on the Instagram feed. And you can also watch us on YouTube if you want to pop us on the app and watch it on your television. And if you're listening afterwards, we appreciate it. Subscribe, rate, do all that good stuff. We have at least 3 weeks left of Orange and Blue Thing. We'll see what happens after that. And if we get this viewing party idea off the ground for that Saturday, the day before the last game of the year, we'll for sure, you know, be posting about that on our social and here on the show. So we'll see you guys next week. Hopefully the Mets get their heads out of their butts and figure some stuff out, because if they don't start winning now, it's going to be too late, because it already feels like it's too late. So, all right, let's go Mets. Thanks to Julia. Thanks to Lizzie for fielding the calls and the callers and all that stuff. And we'll see you next week. Thanks, guys.